fact or fiction? Jay Will, I'll start with you. If I said the Bucks gave the Celtics this championship, would that be fact or fiction?
I'm going to say fiction now. I know everybody's going to say, well, of course, they gave up Drew Holiday. Why would you give up Drew Holiday? I think the Bucks were looking for more of a prolific scorer. They thought they could have dressed some of the Bucks can still potentially make some moves. They're going to have to make some moves considering to keep GA in Milwaukee. That's always going to be the thing.
Why are you looking at him like that, Treya?
Well, I just felt like you answered more about the Bucks than you did about Boston.
They gave the Celtics
question was, did they give?
I'm sorry. Is this a debate show? No.
This isn't a debate show. It's a show where Greeny asks questions and you answer the question appropriately.
Well, Drea, here's yours.
Now we're engaging that way, Drea. Okay.
I'm just curious. I'm just wondering. Okay, yeah, sure.
If I said the Celtics will repeat next season, is that fact or fiction?
You know what? Just because Jay Will doesn't think it'll happen, I'm going to say it's a fact.
You said fiction this morning on the call, Drea.
Yeah, and then I
said fiction.
And then I called the producer back and I said, hey, I'm going fact because they get to keep everybody. They keep everybody. They have elite three-point shooting. They play on both sides of the ball. And you all mentioned Denver, and I get it. Those were single-digit wins. You got to win a series to be a champion. They just did it. They'll build off of that. I don't have any questions. I didn't pick them to win this finals. Why would I pick against Boston from here? Why would I do that to myself?
She just said fiction an hour ago.
I said fiction in the meeting, and then I changed my mind, which before the show is possible. You didn't even answer the question.
Let me get to Monica, if I may dive in between here. Monica, if someone said this was Kyrie's best chance to win another championship, would that be fact or fiction?
Greeny, I'm going to go with this one being fact because your best chance is the one that is in front of you. We all just spent the first hour of our show talking about how difficult it is to win and nothing being guaranteed. Now, I'm with Wendy. Let's keep an eye out for what Dallas may or may not do in the free agency period or in terms of adding to this team. But it is hard to get here. And kudos to the Mavs. Jason Kidd pointed out that they were the under or the lower seed in all of their matchups to get to this point, and they made it here. But there's no guarantee you get back.
That's right. And obviously, the two stars, the two of you bickering, by the way.
Monica
you two.
She didn't answer the question either. I'm just saying.
The question.
Hold Monica to the same standards as me. That's all I'm saying.
How is that not answering the question?
I answered the question.
I answered the question too, but then I got killed for it.
No, you didn't answer the question.
I said fiction.
I asked you a question.
I said fiction. He got balloons.
Sorry, I thought I had turned that off.
I don't know what's going on here. May I try and reclaim control of the... Brian Windhorst did not fly all the way back from Boston at 6 o'clock this morning to be involved in this insanity. Let me get to what Stephen A. said about Kyrie Irving last night, because this was at halftime when the Celtics had opened up that big lead and Kyrie had had a very quiet, not particularly aggressive first half, and Stephen A. had seen all he needed to see.
Okay. Shut him out. I appreciate everything y'all saying. So where the hell is the disgust? Because I'm disgusted. This is game 5 of the NBA Finals, and you're on the road. The stars show up. The best player on offense for the Dallas Mavericks has been Josh Green off the bench, who hit all 3 of his threes. Luka's holding on to the ball too damn much. He's disrupted their pace. Kyrie is just a no-show. Just an absolute no-show right now. We know he is a superstar. He is much better than this. I don't know what's going on with him in Boston, but it's bad, okay?
So that seems to be, and I don't think any of us can argue with that. That seems to be the one hill he has still been unable to climb, Kyrie, if you will, is the hill of Boston.
Those were fair comments by Stephen A. Number one, the pace that the Mavericks had really gotten to in Game 4 was gone. They didn't have that pace, and that was due to Luka. Luka comes out shooting threes when he couldn't make a three all series. I really didn't like his first few possessions of the game, when, by the way, Boston was tight and cold early in the game. And Kyrie just had a dud. You know, and I know that their game plan isn't necessarily for Kyrie to come out and dominate early in the game. What I thought needed to happen here, I was recalling Game 5 in Golden State back in 2016. In that game, yes, Draymond Green was suspended, but in that game, Kyrie and LeBron both scored 40 points. You needed to overcome a situation like this, a team on a closeout game on their home court, you need your star players to throw haymakers. Kyrie absolutely did not do that. Luka was off his game as well, and that can't be ignored. That happened.
But it's also about the experience of Kyrie, considering he's been in the NBA Finals before, and Luka has not. In a moment like this, like regardless of whether the game plan is for Kyrie to come out and get everybody involved, you have to design some sets for him to get going early because that relieves the pressure on Luka and allows Luka to say, okay, like, here's my bet. This is one of the reasons we brought Kyrie into Dallas, right? To be this veteran guy that understands so dynamic off the dribble. Now, I give Boston, once again, incredible credit defensively. But there was a lack of aggression from Kyrie in the first half that was shocking considering a Game 5, end of series type of game with everything on the line.
I want to ask you, because you would be able to answer this question. Is aggressiveness something you can just flip a switch on, which is to say you could just say, tonight I'm coming out aggressive? Because obviously I've never been in that situation, but it does feel to me as though sometimes that has to be facilitated by others. Or is it, I guess what I'm saying is you're saying they didn't run any sets for him, they didn't do any of that. Can he just walk out there with the mindset, I'm going to be aggressive tonight come hell or high water, or is that something that someone has to have arranged for him?
So we have this line we say all the time, hey, some people say, well, let the game come to you.
That's what I mean.
We say, go to the game. Go to the game.
He didn't do that last
night.
So
I didn't see him. She used the correct word in the first hour, attack mode. When you're in attack mode, you end up making reads differently than letting the game reveal itself to you. Like, that seems like that's what you do in a regular season. Like, let me get into my groove. Like, there's a difference of mentality. Like, Boston came out and they attacked early.
How much blame, how much criticism for Kyrie and Luka, because let's face it, that in the reverse order, that Luka and Kyrie, that's the team, that's the Mavericks, that's how they got here, that's the horse they rode through the Clippers, who had a better record than them, and through OKC, who had a better record, Minnesota, who had a better record, and all the rest of that. How much of it is fair to say those guys didn't do what they needed to do to give them a chance to win? And how much was this just a question of they ran into an historically great team that no one wants to acknowledge as such, one of the best defensive teams we've seen in the NBA in a long time, and there are all sorts of advanced metrics that would demonstrate that they ran into a buzzsaw that was going to do that to practically anybody that got in front of them. Which side of that, or what part of that do you like?
I'm going 40% Dallas and Kyrie and Luka's responsibility, and 60% to your point. This is a Mavs team, or excuse me, a Celtics squad that was top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency all season long. When you go back and look at the matchups and how the Mavs got here, Clippers are injured, OKC is young, monster game to close it out from Luka. Then you get the T-Wolves, whose defense was completely in a blender between Kyrie and Luka. We talked about it going into this series. The core four, if you will, for the Celtics was uniquely poised and skilled to match up and make life difficult for these Mavs. As much as you want to point to Luka and Kyrie because they are indeed the head of the snake, this team got here because they were able to get these role players involved at a high level as well. And outside of Game 4 in Dallas, that did not happen at any point in this series, y'all. Like, the Celtics defense and offense, frankly, was just that smothering.
This was a defensive clinic. I mean, we are sitting here criticizing Luka and Kyrie, and look, that's what happens. You said it the other day. Heavy is the head that, what is it? Heavy is the
head that wears the crown.
The head that wears the crown. Whatever's heavy on the head. The point I'm trying to make is, I mean, I'm just looking at the box scores of these 4 games. The Mavericks scored 88, 84, 99, and 98 points in this series. I mean, they did not score 100 points in a game in this series. This was a defensive clinic by the Boston Celtics. The
Celtics worked their strategy, which is fire up a bunch of threes. I think they were plus 22 in three-pointers for the series. Defend the rim. They were plus 16 in blocks in this series. This is Missoula ball, and use their depth, in which they also did. I will say, though, I did think that Dallas could have applied some stress to the Celtics, because the one thing we weren't sure about till this series happened was whether the Celtics could withstand some stress. There was an opportunity there in Game 2, especially after Porzingis had to come out of the game. Game 3 was the golden opportunity. Luka fouls out. I still would love to know. My lasting thing will be, it's a 3-point game with 4 minutes to play on a 20-2 run that Dallas is on. He fouls out. If they win that game, we'll never know what would have happened. The better team won. The correct result happened, but we could still be playing if Dallas had handled their business a little better.
Yeah.
I'm on fire. It's NBA,